of the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening to the folks at home. Public comment on agenda items only, please. I have the minutes of the May 18th meeting. Do I have a motion to accept it as published?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, thank you. Budget transfers, there's a separate sheet if I can find it. Oh, I also have the minutes of the May 11th meeting. I ask for a motion to accept the minutes as published.
Motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, thank you. Kelly, you got budget transfers? Yeah, please. I had them. I don't know what I did with them. Thank you. From the contingent account, we are moving to recreation programs $1,000 for the 4th of July. From the service award program, we're moving into ambulance retirement, $4,011, which was under budgeted. Solar miscellaneous to solar retirement, $5,033, under budgeted. And in the contingent account, town hall planning and renovations, $6,741, which was for electrical work that was done. You probably didn't notice, but it was done in the basement. There's a bunch of signs down there that'll tell you how to get out of the basement if there's a fire. I don't know about things. Any questions from the board on the budget transfers? No, nothing? Okay. Yes.
We need a motion.
Need a motion for,
The budget.
can I get a motion for the?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, thank you. Thank you, Kelly. I might need it again, but I also transferred $148,547 from the consolidated account to the paying account. Rockland County Solid Waste, we sent a check for $52,268. MVP Healthcare, health insurance, $43,313. Our RBT CPAs, software lease, and 2025 audit service, $16,110. A&R Concrete Products for FEMA curb pieces for Mine Road, $8,000. L&L Property Maintenance for cemetery lawn maintenance for April, $6,000. And we also did a transfer from contingent account to recreation for the 4th of July committee, which we just brought up, and that gives us a total of $3,000 that we're donating to the 4th of July committee. Just to remind you, in the last few years, maybe 3 years, we haven't donated anything to the 4th of July committee. Before I go into liaison reports, I have a invitation from the high school to their graduation. You've gone in my stead before. Do you want to do it again?
Do you have the date, Bob?
I do somewhere. I'll get it before you leave.
If I can do it, I will. I'm gonna guess it.
I spent a good couple hours putting my paperwork together, and it's all messed up. This is one that none of us can make, sadly enough. The Highland Falls Intermediate School is going to have their 8th grade moving up ceremony. It's on Monday, June the 22nd, which is our meeting. So I'll send my regrets. Board liaison reports, we'll start with Councilwoman Corbett.
Okay. I just have one report, and that is from the ambulance corps. For the month of May, there were 72 calls that were dispatched. 5 had no response, 67 were answered. The no response was a second call. 386 was already on a call, and there was no second crew or ambulance available. On the 5th and the 6th, no driver or EMT available. One was handled by Empress, another by New Windsor Ambulance. And that first one, the second call was New Windsor Cromwell Ambulance. 2, and then on the 16th and the 21st, also second calls. 386 was already on a call, no crew or ambulance available, handled by Garrison. Each of those was handled by Garrison on the 16th and the 21st. But otherwise, it was, as they all seem to be nowadays, very busy months for the ambulance corps. So that's what I have.
Councilor Lane.
How's everybody doing? I don't have much, just for the rec department, we're gonna be looking over the rec agreements for the rec department for the swimming pool and all the services there. This past weekend was Hope Rocks. The center had Hope Rocks. It was a pretty good turnout. They did really good. Everybody had fun.
Yeah, it was a good day. It was hot. It was a hot day. I'm old. I don't do well in the heat.
Yeah, it was pretty hot. It was definitely hot. The shade was good though.
Yes.
Right in the churchyard.
A lot of great things that were going on.
And that's all I have to.
That's all you got. Okay. Councilman King.
Good evening, everyone, and good evening, everyone at home. Only a couple notes from me. The first one is Family Fun Day is scheduled for June 13th, and that'll be at the intermediate school. So that's been going on for a few years now. We look forward to folks coming out and celebrating and participating and joining in the fun over at the intermediate school. Secondly, we have the Juneteenth celebrations coming up on June the 20th. We know the actual holiday, the national holiday, is the 19th, which is Friday. But here, we'll celebrate on the 20th, which is Saturday. We'll do a parade down Main Street, starting at approximately the vicinity of Southgate and USAA. The lineup is about 10:30 a.m., or let's say 10:30, and then step off is at 11 a.m. Anybody who still wants to participate in the community, meaning get in the parade, march down the road, concluding at Memorial Park, where there'll be a flag-raising ceremony directly after of the Juneteenth flag, and then there'll be also a keynote speaker that we have, who is Dr. Belinda Miles, the president of Westchester County Community College, will be our guest speaker or keynote speaker for this particular year, and we have a jazz band that will perform afterwards. And then the last thing I have is that for our seniors, the center, as we know, has been contracted for a number of years to do programs for seniors, but inside the center, there's an appointee on August 1st, Christine Manning will be the new outreach coordinator for seniors in the town of Highlands and for creating programs and so forth. So subject to anybody's questions, that's all I have for today, Supervisor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Sullivan.
Can't you keep going? I'm not ready yet.
Well, listen, I warmed them up for you. Now it's time. It's showtime.
He'll have something that you got to add to it.
All right, so I'd like to welcome a couple village board members here. Nice to see Jim Ramus. I know he's going to have the annual fishing thing he's going to show us. Looking forward to that. And Alina. And when I started on my public journey, I was a zoning board of appeals with that gentleman right there, Timothy Dunnery. It's good to see you, Timmy. So, thank you. On water, I sent out the May water report to everybody before the meeting. We had an average daily use for the month of May of 63,833 gallons per day. During that month, a lot of people have filled their swimming pools, so we are very pleased because since I've been doing this job, and since probably 10 years before I had this job, that number is probably 10 to 15,000 gallons lower than any number we've had. And that leak over at St. Mark's was a reason for it. So that was a significant find, and so the water, we're way down, and that's good. I've had a few inquiries. One of them was today with Kelly, and I'll talk to her about it, who's going to handle it, about people that are in the water district that want to tie in, not about their points, but about the logistics behind it. There's one particular parcel has no way to go except to get an easement. Either you and I can call that person tomorrow. I'd be happy to do it, Sewer. Hopefully, because we are sludge. Sludge is like, I talk about sewer a lot. Sludge is not as easy as you think to get rid of it. The permits involved and all that. So we have a company named Denali. They sample 4 times a year, and if the samples pass, and the sampling is, like $1,200 or $1,500 every time. We've done our 4. I think we're all done for the year with paying for the sampling. The sludge, I think, went up to $125 a ton. It was $120. I think it went up, I don't have the average monthly flow for May yet, because we didn't do the DMR yet. I'll have that at the next meeting. We have a pump station on Formwood Road, which has a pump that died, and I'm awaiting some criteria from TAM before we move forward on that. I'm treating that as an emergency on that particular one. And we've had, I didn't put this in here, but we've had contact, like it or not, from the EPA over the last few years. There's a gentleman looking for information. I delivered that information to Lankin Tully in person last week, so that should be getting worked on. The thumb drives for the review we did down on the 9W corridor. Somehow I kind of inherited cemetery, so the cemetery, last Friday we were contacted with 3 cremains that had to be reconciled. And speaking of cremains, tomorrow night the cemetery committee is meeting to move along our planned portioning of the cremains section of Eagle Valley, which is not laid out yet. And we have a cremains that's waiting to be interred pending that, so we're trying to move that along. DPW, everybody probably got a notice that Mine Road will be closed tomorrow, June 9th. That's because the town DPW is doing drainage up on Mine Road, which is associated with the FEMA project that they will be crossing Mine Road tomorrow in the area just above Dry Creek Road. So bear that in mind. Even if you want to go up and hike the Torn, that's probably going to be a problem up there tomorrow. In the sanitation, there's been a lot of bulk pickup, and I would like to remind people that bulk pickup is 4 items, such as a mattress, covered, or a barbecue grill or such. The items are not to be put out until the call is made to the DPW, and they will put you on the list for scheduled pickup. Also, there's been a few complaints. One of them was completely obnoxious about the spacing of garbage cans before pickup. I was going to bring some garbage cans tonight, and I was going to quiz the town board. I was going to set them up and ask them which ones are right and which ones are wrong, because this one-armed truck, he dumps about 300 cans a day. So when they're facing the wrong way, there's a bag on top. The intent is to have an ample number of town-approved or purchased cans. You fit the garbage inside of it, he dumps it, and he goes on his merry way, and everybody's neighborhood looks beautiful when it's done. So when you have the wrong can, and if you got cans originally from us 25 to 30 years ago, they were free at that time. They're not free anymore. There's maintenance. If you buy a can from us, or an approved one, we don't repair the ones bought somewhere else. If you buy it from us, we'll take care of your lid or the wheels if they break up to a certain point until it's not usable anymore. I've had a multitude of calls about that saying, I'm a taxpayer and whatnot. I bought 2 cans in the last couple of years. Each one was $90. And I'm sorry to say that's just kind of how it is. For the annual electronic waste pickup, the company that did it in the past has not returned phone calls recently to do it in the future as before on Saturdays. So Greg and Lindsay are in communications with another company, and before July is over with, I'm hoping that we can have an electronic waste pickup day. It's probably going to involve some town people working that day, having it on crates where they could take it up to the highway garage where it'd be reconciled. I think the community likes that service. We've done it for the last, 10 years. On Earth Day is normally when we do it. That company is no longer obliging the way we did in the past. That's why it hasn't been done. With the building department, for the month of May, we had 20 permit applications received, 19 permits were issued, 3 operating permits were issued, 14 certificates of compliance, 26 building permit inspections, 16 fire safety inspections, 24 violation notices were issued, 6 were closed out, 11 municipal searches, and 1 planning board application was received, along with 11 FOIL requests. I was down in Phil's office one day last week. He had just mailed out 30 high grass advisory notices to people. Cut your grass, please. History. So I was unable to attend a few Saturdays ago, a tribute to David Rose and John Brooks, both of whom participated in the Battle of Fort Montgomery. Ronnie Coffey spearheaded that event. Deeply appreciated. As stated, I was unable to attend. I am the president of the Fort Battle Site, so I'm disappointed in myself. Just couldn't make it. Along those lines, on Saturday, June 13th, I think it's at noontime, at the Highland Falls Library, Mr. Frank Taylor, USMA class of 1987, former teacher at West Point, will present the debut showing of his America 250 project, George Washington's Army in Your Backyard. He's done a whole bunch of research on it, and I am looking forward to that presentation. I won't be able to make that one either, but I'm going to see to it that it gets recorded for that event. Saturday, June 27th, 1 to 2 o'clock at the Highland Falls Library. The community reads the Declaration of Independence, 35 to 40 volunteers. I've read about that in the past. I'm going to be one of them. I think if you want to do it, you got to contact Ronnie Coffey. What's their number, Bob? Is it 446-0400, the History Department? I think that's what her number is up there, something like that. I'm not sure, so, is that it right, Mary Jane? Thank you.
That's Mary Jane, not me.
Okay, so if you're interested in reading, I think she's going to have a lot of people reading different pieces of it. She's going to want you to be there and rehearse ahead of time. That may or may not be filled up, I'm not sure. A phone number to 446-0400 doesn't hurt. So on the sit-and chat that we had last week, and the sit-and chats are the first Wednesday of the month from April to June, and then from September to November. Dr. David Baker did a presentation on Edgar Mearns, who was a surgeon and a nationally renowned naturalist. It was a great presentation. I am going to upload it to YouTube probably sometime over the next few days. I recorded it. Want to thank Dr. Baker for that presentation. And I think that's all I have, so, which is probably enough.
Lenny?
Can I just say one more thing?
Yes.
This Saturday, Mr. Ramos's fishing derby is on the morning of this Saturday, and Family Fun Day is in the afternoon.
So we gotta make both.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they'll be providing fishing poles and
Since he brought it up, you wanna
Thank you.
This is Jimmy's annual event here. Go ahead,
Thank you,
Jim.
Mr. Supervisor, and thank you, Mike, council members. Just wanted to remind everybody, Fishing Derby, Saturday, Roe Park, open to all children, so doesn't matter where you live, come on down. Like Mike said, we got buckets for everybody. It'll have bait, some tackle in it. We got breakfast and a hot dog lunch. A lot of giveaways. Even if you don't catch a fish, we're giving stuff away. So again, come on down. If anybody would like to help be a fish ranger, teach the little kids how to cast or bait a hook, we can always use some of those as well. Thank you so much. Bob, I know
You gotta face toward me, Jimmy. I need your
I don't think we have one downstairs.
I'll leave this one for you.
Yes.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jim.
Under communications, I just want to give folks an example. We have a number of, every town employee or volunteer has to do yearly training, whether they like it or not. And most of the people are not. I see the ambulance corps here, they're all supposed to do the training. Kelly sent out this letter that she met with Joe Rapunski, the person who does training for us. He informed me that if PESH is Public Safety and Health Bureau, were to come in and audit our records, which they have done in the past, the fine would be, this is for people that haven't taken the training, the fine would be $50 a day per person, per class, until the classes are completed. Because there are 5 classes, it would cost the town $250 per person per day. So therefore, if the training isn't completed within 15 days, Kelly sent this out on June the 3rd, you will not be able to work until you have completed the required training. She sent this out to all the employees who have not completed their training. And another warning to the town, this comes from the DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation, having to do with MS4. This is stormwater systems. We're supposed to do a whole bunch of stuff for stormwaters. This has gone off to the Highway Department. Greg said he's going to take care of it. He sent 2 of the employees to this class on MS4, and I'll just read the last couple sentences here. Violations are subject to fines of up to $37,500. As if $37,000 isn't enough, they have to throw $500 in per day. So they want our outfall reconnaissance survey turned in for each outfall by July the 1st. It gives us a few weeks. Greg says he's taking care of it. Am I right?
He's had the guys up there doing the classroom training. Now they gotta go out and acquire the data, so, yeah.
And on a nicer thing, the French Air and Space Force acrobatic team will fly over West Point on Tuesday, that's tomorrow, June the 9th, at 10:42 a.m. as a part of their National Goodwill Tour of the United States commemoration of the 250th founding of the nation, 250th year of the nation. The flyover will be 8 Alpha jets and 1 Airbus transport plane at the head, and they'll be shooting out red, white, and blue smoke. That should be pretty cool. I mean, we just got to look up here about 10:30. Should be pretty nice. But you don't
I suppose I should keep my drone grounded tomorrow then, huh?
why don't you fly up and go fly with them?
It's shot down.
Okay, attorney, have any comments? Chief, have something for us?
The stats for the month of May, the police department handled 773 calls for service. We handled 7 cases, made 3 arrests, initiated 94 traffic stops, wrote 71 traffic tickets, and handled 11 motor vehicle accidents.
Any questions for Chief?
Oh, thanks, Chief. Great job.
No. Kelly, you have anything? Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
You keep track of me, okay. All right. Okay, on general business, the first thing on the agenda there is I have a email from Kyle Charette, who is the EMS coordinator. Before I go into this, Justin, I would ask you to do something for me. In the ambulance contract, the union contract, I would like to know a description or difference between the captain and the EMS coordinator. Who's got what job for what duties?
In short, I'll give you a better answer tomorrow, but in short, the coordinator is listed in the collectively bargained agreement, right, and has a role with respect to the paid EMTs and only the paid EMTs, right, they're the only members of the CPA.
Okay.
Captain, my understanding, is a role designated by the volunteer ambulance corps.
Okay.
So the actual CPA does not agree, it does not determine how those two roles interplay, right? What the collectively bargaining agreement does is establish work rules for the paid EMTs and how they interact with the town on those issues.
That may be something we need to clarify in the next contract.
So, do we want to talk about this now? Can someone give me a better understanding of the role of the captain? We want to talk about it.
I don't have any specific questions on it. I just kind of wanted it clarified between the two gentlemen that are the upper estuary of the ambulance corps.
Okay, sure, yeah, so we should probably meet, happy to meet with the representative of the ambulance corps, I guess. Happy to meet with the liaison as well, and talk through some of those issues and.
Okay. I'm not sure there's an issue, but I think we need to talk about it. No, that's fine, that's fine.
Just simply
Okay.
what some of the matters may be that we want to help coordinate in that regard.
I have an email from Kyle Charette, the EMS coordinator. He wants me to approve his overtime for the 4th of July, which, what he does on the 4th of July, and please, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, he takes his trike, he rides around and goes in the parade, and then hangs around the field. Last year, he did 15 hours at overtime, holiday overtime pay, and that cost $610 for the service that he gave to who? I have no idea whether he saw any, did anything or not, other than being there. So I'm going to ask, according to the union contract, I'm the one that gives permission for him to do the overtime, and I'm going to pass that to the board and ask the board if they would like to vote on whether or not we should give the Kyle Charette overtime for the 4th of July.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Yes.
I got one too. Go ahead.
Is there anything to justify him? Like last year, did he have like 5 calls?
I think it's a matter of, sorry, I'm not ready for that. I think it's a matter of, it's a very busy day. So I cannot explain to you what God's resident on this is, but just from an EMS perspective, you are far more likely when you have so many people in such close vicinity doing events
Is Kyle here?
to have something happen. And so having that extra hand is essentially, as Jeff said earlier, but was not heard, was for the past 10 years, that is something that's happened.
But we do have an ambulance and 2 EMTs.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you have one patient, there you go.
Okay.
If you have a second patient, again, with the current ambulance situation as it is, but having somebody there already to be able to render that care, who is paid to be there and thus is not volunteering their time, and it has an actual responsibility to be there at that point, for their, whatever it is, per employment. I think that is essentially what Kyle was doing. I cannot, again, from Kyle's perspective, explain what it is.
How many patients did we have last year?
It's accessibility. As you well know, the streets are crowded, and that his four-wheel can get through the traffic much better than we can.
So
it's
let-
going up and down.
Okay,
over.
let me ask you this, I got that part. So what I think I'm hearing you say, so we're trying to mitigate the risk
Yes, that's
by
exactly
having
right.
the mobility of this
Mobility.
EMT.
Accessibility.
I see all the green shirts out here. It would have been nice if Kyle could have come to this meeting and explained his role. I look at it as EMS in the parade, which you do have your ambulance in the parade, and Kyle's in the parade showing off his three-wheeler. Personally, I would very quickly say, no, I'm not going to authorize overtime. Therefore, I'm asking the board to either say yea or nay.
Was there a question?
If it's appropriate, I just have a comment. Probably 5 years ago, my Hannah was walking the 5K or running 5K, and she went down, and he was right there with the
We've had people with
utility vehicle, whatever it's called, to help us. It was worth it, maybe.
And it's happened several times.
During the
over the years.
Okay.
During the triathlon that West Point puts on, that same concept emerged, but of course that wasn't a town thing, that's a West Point thing, but he was there before the ambulance could get there.
All right, do I have a motion to approve overtime for the 4th of July? Then that, just to remind you, that'd be about 15 hours, $610.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Now I'd like to have discussion, okay?
Okay.
There's a lot of ambulance things to talk about here tonight, and I'm glad you're all here. There are those of us that are older than you. I was in the ambulance corps when I was 16 years old. I was in the fire department with Steve Scott after that. Then I moved away from the area. I've seen some emails from the ambulance corps suggesting that we don't care about the taxpayers. Nothing could be farther from the truth. So as we go through these intense discussions tonight, this is business, and it needs to be talked about. And there are things you might see that we don't, and things we know that you don't. I'm prepared to talk about all of them as we discuss the ambulance and everything else. And Jeff Gathers is one of the greatest volunteers this community's ever known. So it's not easy to sit up here and say something that might be indifferent to people's opinions, but I'm prepared to do so. And so, now that we did that, we're gonna vote on Kyle for having overtime? If anybody else has other discussion.
And discussion, anybody else?
Say.
Yeah, I would say, do we have a four-wheeler of our own?
No, we don't.
So, I mean, I think that would, no, I'm saying, I think that would be better if the town acquired one that every member would be able to utilize, instead of just him being able to get overtime every time. That's my...
We can look at that. That doesn't solve our problem in a couple of weeks, though.
I'm prepared to vote.
Okay, on the motion.
I made the
Roll
motion.
call.
Who was the second?
Who seconded it?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Lee? Councilmember Spaulding?
Aye.
Supervisor Lipsy?
No.
Everybody gave a respectable answer, okay?
Okay, so Kyle will get to use his trike in the parade and afterwards.
Yeah, it's a 4-wheel.
Trikes are against the law, aren't they?
Okay, we got a lot of general business. Let's stay with the ambulance. Jeff, you wanted to talk about a second ambulance?
Mr. Supervisor, Town Council, I know you already know that I've been up here the last time and we were a yes and then we were a no, for whatever reason it may be. Currently, I've been working with the insurance company in June on the old one, and we're probably going to get about 122,000, maybe 123,000 for the graphics, the power lift that's going to go in the next one. I think what's concerning is that currently 386 has about 54,000 miles on it, and if we don't do anything in the next 6 months, which we know the new one's coming, my bad on the timing, it won't be here till March, April, or May, God knows. Anyway, with that being said, you're looking at putting another 20,000 on that, give or take. We'll be looking for a new one after that. So, the reason why we were looking forward, as Kyle and I in our group were looking forward, it would be so much easier to put rotation on 3 ambulances, saving the town money, the taxpayers' money, as we rotate each ambulance through and we build up our surplus on our ambulance side to replace ambulance every 10 years. So that's basically one of the good things about it, and also because we need a second ambulance right now. Last Saturday, Sean and one of the other EMTs were on, and the gas cap snapped, and it had to have gas in it. So automatically he called me, we took it out of service, we looked for the DPW on the Saturday, nobody was there, Bosch couldn't fix it, so in that time, there was a call. I sent him down to Haverstraw, Schultz Ford, and they fixed it. He called me and said, can we take this call? And I said, yes, go to the call. And so he responded from Haverstraw all the way up here to take the call. So it's important that everybody knows that you got to have a rotation of ambulances. It's very important. You can't keep running the one that we have and just running it to the ground, because sooner or later, we're going to have to service it for whatever it is, and it's going to be out of service, and that, therefore, then New Windsor, Garrison, whoever our second mutual aid is, will be coming into the village.
Jeff, you mentioned the miles on 386. How many miles are on an ambulance most of the time when they get traded in? 100,000, 200,000?
To be truthful, I don't know, because I haven't dealt with that.
Okay.
But this is a 2014.
I'm aware of
Okay.
what you have on your mind.
Okay.
I know it has 60,000 miles on it also.
Yeah, and it's a diesel. And it's cheap.
Just so I know what the ambulance corps is, okay? I've been supervisor over 20 years. Prior to being a supervisor, I happened to be in an ambulance company in the Army. We had 36 ambulances there. So all my 12 years in the Army was in the medical corps. So I'm not sitting up here like somebody that doesn't know what you're talking about. When I first became supervisor, we were having money problems with the ambulance corps, and we had, I hate to remind you, all volunteers. None of this paid bullshit. We had all volunteers. Right now, we have a handful of volunteers.
Correct.
That's all we have. Back when I was a supervisor, Evie Drew was on the town board, and I suggested to her that we make insurance companies pay for our patients. She thought that was the worst thing in the world. She got very mad at me, and very mad at a meeting in public. once I had a chance to talk to her and showed her the money that could be brought in, which would pay for the entire budget, she says, I guess I have to get with the times. So the first time we ever charged an insurance company, I did the billing, actually, the first time out, and we did pay for our whole budget. The point I'm trying to make is, I know what you guys do. But the sad part is right now you don't have the volunteers, and at our budget, when it comes up, I'm going to recommend paying drivers. There's no sense in having this handful of EMTs getting paid X dollars, and we need a driver. Well, let's get that driver up here. We're not paying him nothing. He can just go for the ride. No, we got to change that, or at least that's the way I feel that we got to do. So as far as getting, let's get to the core of the thing here. As far as getting a third ambulance, sometimes you can't even crew up one ambulance. One. You got to call them, you got to call Stony Point or Peekskill or one of those places. You can't even crew up one ambulance. Not all the time. And I'll tell you what, Jeff, I'm not tooting your horn. If it wasn't for you, there'd be a hell of a lot more times we wouldn't be able to crew up an ambulance. A hell of a lot more.
We all appreciate you, Jeff.
The other thing we seem to forget about, and I appreciate what you do and everything, and you have a fly car. The fly car, I don't see why it couldn't be used if you had people to crew it up.
It does.
In place of an ambulance. In other words, suppose it was up on the rack getting fixed, and you get a call. Okay, the fly car could go, you could hop in the fly car, see what's going on.
We do that, but we lose money if we don't transport.
Understood, yes,
I understand what
understood.
you're saying, yes, and one of those calls was me. I was tired. I overslept that Tuesday. I was sick.
I don't know why you don't oversleep all the time, Jeff. I'll tell you
I
what.
had a toothache that was killing me, so I take blame for that. And it bothers me that we miss calls, any calls. I have Genesis, I have Sean, I have Esmond. These guys are doing yeoman's work, working tons of hours. So yes, I understand what you're saying, and so do they.
That's not you. That's society as it is now. I can't get people to
We
volunteer.
can't get volunteers, it's hard.
You know.
And we're out there recruiting.
Yeah.
It's very hard. Ever since COVID, it's been a downhill for volunteers.
I present, not on behalf of the town board, but on my behalf, my perspective from what I've been told that not everybody might know, okay? So we currently have $195,000 in the ambulance reserve fund. Yes, Kelly? Yes, okay. I don't know what our contributions are every year, but we're not that far away from another ambulance there after the one that we're getting, which is being financed mostly by 2 grants. I think they're from Schoolfist and from ECAS.
That's correct.
So out of that 300,000, I think, what is it, 80% of it or whatever is being financed by those grants. And whatever happened to make it delay, that's unfortunate. I'm not a rear window kind of a guy. It happened. So now we know it's not going to even go on the assembly line until February of 2027.
Right.
So now, you take 49 grand out of that 195,000.
No.
Or out of the I know there's 103 grand in insurance claims.
It's insurance.
The other one.
Right.
So rather than putting that into the reserve and being ready to buy another ambulance like almost the next day, we're going to take 49,000 out, buy an ambulance that does not fit in the building. The highway garage, they tell me they don't have room for it
Don't
up
have
there.
to.
You know, whatever. So it doesn't fit into the building, has 60,000 miles on it, and therefore we will be $49,000 short toward contributing toward the next ambulance. I'm
won't
not
be
sure
short.
which is a better way to go.
I'm sorry, Rich, with all due respect, you wouldn't be short because that money was never there. It just got there from the insurance. So you can't make a shortfall on something you didn't have. Now we have it.
But it is there now.
That's correct.
And
But
deciding
you're-
what to do,
but as a
which scenario
town,
is better.
as a town, you're supposed to budget out for a new ambulance every 10 years. I get where you're going, but to me, that's not the right math.
It's 121,000 that won't hurt us at all. And almost every single ambulance corps in Orange County has spare ambulances that sit outside. Almost every single one of them. Even the big ones that do 4,000 to 5,000 to 6,000 calls a year, they have spare ambulances that sit outside.
In the grand picture, the central services budget, which is your building down there, I think we should sometime make a capital investment, make its own ambulance that built anywhere in the world can fit in that thing.
Yeah, because-
All these ambulances are special built, that's one thing.
Right.
And long-term, I'd like to see us have a second new ambulance within 2 years from now.
It's almost
The scenario
impossible
I'm
unless you
presenting,
did it 3 to 4 years out. I understand what you're saying, but like I said, these 5,000, 6,000 calls a year, they've got 2 ambulances sitting outside, and all they do is take the meds out, lock it up with the keys, and when they're ready to go, they go.
Yeah. Understood.
Any other questions?
Pat, yes?
Nah.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, which I hope I am, you're saying, let's not buy the used ambulance, let's go right ahead and get a new one now, correct?
No, the new
Oh,
one
that's
is
what I heard.
manufactured at. Let's have the money for a new one, like within a year or two, with reserve investments along with that $103,000 going into the $195,000.
Okay, so this is why it can't work for us, is right now, we can get the used ambulance for the insurance money, right now. As Jeff pointed out, even with a small problem with the ambulance, it comes out of service. We were lucky enough for them to get it back in service to get to the call. The money is there now for the used one, and I know it's used, but we are down to 1 ambulance. The bottom line of this board is money. You have to know that you have the money and taxpayers are being taken care of and it's being spent properly. I have to let you know, a lot of money is being left on the table. For those that don't know, a quick history, as Bob pointed out with the insurance, when Bill Stroper was captain, he wrote it all up. Things you may not understand that we will lose. Okay? When you get a call and we deal with a local, there's insurance, and then there's the copay. Now, when Bob and Bill freaking made that happen with the insurance, before that, it was all tax dollars to pay for everything for the ambulance. Now, for those who don't know, we're not talking $30,000, $40,000. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that are coming in that we're making for the budget that's coming back to us as a budget. Okay? If we don't make 90% of our calls, so if a ambulance is out that just happened, and we miss that call, and we do 100 calls, and we miss 10 for the year, we lose the ambulance. The state comes in and takes it away, and will give it to New Windsor, or Empress, or somebody else. It's already happening, not happening to us, because we're busting it to make sure we get the numbers. But if we don't get that, now let's talk money. Let's bring in New Windsor. They can take over the ambulance. Minimum, the numbers have already been run, minimum 3 times of what we're paying now. And that's tax dollars. On top of that, all the money that they make from insurance, they take, so that no longer goes to the town to help pay ambulance bills. On top of that, there will be no more copay payment for the locals. So right now, when a local gets transported, there's a minimum of a $400 payment in the copay on top of the insurance, minimum. They don't pay that, and we don't ask them to. All we do when these guys set up the insurance thing to help the locals is give us your insurance. They call all the time. What about this copay? Because it gets sent out. I can't handle this, you don't pay it. We do send it out to non-residents because they don't pay taxes. So they need to pay the copay, and that also comes back in on top of the insurance. What we're not doing is, yes, certain times we can't cover. Right now, we can't cover a second call. There's no ambulance. So, give you a quick thing on that. Let's use motor vehicle accident. We get a decent amount from the Palisades and the Mountain, let alone a couple here in town. Okay? $2,000 we lose every time we can't cover an MVA. So, with the ambulance down, I was on duty to give you, this is not just numbers in the air. I was on duty a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago. We had a call on Palisades. While we were dealing with the call, a call happened 100 yards in back of us. Backed that thing up, took that call too. $4,000. They both, for MVA, it doesn't matter if they refuse medical care, we still get the full money. So $4,000 in 25 minutes. At the same time, another accident happened at the bottom of the mountain by West Point. Couldn't take it because we're taking these two. We didn't have another ambulance. New Windsor took it, we lost $2,000. One day. I understand we have to be very careful with the money we spend. This community has to have 2 ambulances all the time. Why would we need 3? I would tell you why we need 3. Because we can make more money. What we don't do are normal transports, which we can do. And that's non-emergency transports. We get paid for those as well. Why do we need a third one for that, Pat? Because if we're already scheduled to transport and we get a second medical call, all 3 ambulances are out at one time. If an ambulance is down and we have a medical call, do we risk doing a transport with a second call possible? A lot of balls up in the air. This is not, and when you look, you're looking at volunteers. This is not something we take lightly. We are all taxpayers as well. So, and I don't take it lightly. But we're asking you, and Bob, I'm with you on that, and I want to see it happen. I love it. I'm going to make one request, because it's been brought up before. You just said you're looking to pay drivers. I'm the only driver in the room. I'm one of the only drivers for the ambulance. So, well, all EMTs drive. They do. But I'm saying, as far as, I'm not an EMT. So you're saying pay a driver. I would say, when you're looking at the numbers, to put if you're going to put 2 paid people on, put 2 paid EMTs on, if you can afford it, only because it's not that much more per hour, and that second call comes, we're still going to be there. Drivers and other people are still going to be on duty, but if you have another driver, and you have 2 EMTs on, now you can handle those 2 calls instantly, not waiting for that second crew to crew up. So if you're even thinking about it, again, money, we will make the money. If you choose to do it, the ambulances and the 2 people on, and it doesn't work out. We have 3 ambulances. You blow it out, so we only have 2. So we're supposed to get a new one. We're not. We're going to keep putting money in the reserves, so we're there and we're ready. We don't get that new one, because you know what? You guys aren't using the 3rd one ever. But if we had the 3rd one, and we were making the money, not to afford a 3rd one, but to afford a new 4th one in 2 years, because we're making more money. I'm not even touching on the fact that we're saving lives, because that's what we're there for. But you guys, your responsibility, our responsibility is to save lives, your responsibility is the tax dollars. And I understand that. And we want to work with you to make more of it so that we can afford more. And I want, just like Bob said when they started the billing, I'm looking for the money we make and to join with you in looking for more grants and things like that. I want the ambulance to pay 100% of itself. And that's with 2 EMTs on, 3 ambulances, and whatever else this community needs. And a lot of times we rely on it, and we're looking constantly. More people, more equipment, grants. That's it.
That was a lot of numbers. Not finding fault with anybody. It would have been really nice had this all been communicated long before now, and it wasn't. So there's a lot of numbers. I trust what you're saying. I'd have to look through it to see that. I'm just going to say one more thing before we vote. 3 of us up here were on this board when Jim Modlin was here, who did a lot of good for the ambulance corps, and we supported him when it was $105,000 for the 2 full-time EMTs that he hired. You got a striker compressor unit, you got a stretcher, and you got the AED unit. I remember it was $157,000 for that. We supported that. At that time, because I'm not that well involved with the ambulance corps, unfortunately, I wish I had time to do it, I said, would we be better off to pay drivers and have the EMTs at a higher rate of pay, all being part-time? I'm not so sure which scenario works. I do agree that we need to start paying the drivers, and no disrespect, we're not too far away from the V being taken out of the name of the ambulance corps. Are you like, how many volunteers are actually left? Real volunteers that don't get paid anything?
They just don't show up.
My absolute kudos, Steve's probably one of them, right? So, I mean, and Steve's been doing this for what, 30 years now, 40 years?
Over 30
So,
years.
that's appreciated. We don't want to see the ambulance corps die. I'm not quite sure what to do to preserve it, but I'm prepared to act now that I've had that discussion. Yeah.
Yes, sure.
Steve Scott, I've been in the ambulance corps for a long time. The weekend that they had the problem recently where he was down in Haverstraw, they were paging out companies that would not respond to this call, whatever the emergency was. We had nobody to respond to that call. They went as far as Goshen, ringing their tones, to Chester. I mean, and they could not respond. So we were lucky we got that ambulance out, whatever the emergency was. So we were lucky to do that. We're going to look at like almost a year of just having one ambulance. What happens when it's down? Just got to think about that. It's really serious. And even if we don't have it for that many years, I can never see us doing 3 ambulances, running 3 ambulances, but having 2 running all the time is a must.
Thank you, Steve. And thank you, Pat.
And just real quick on what you just said, 100%. I agree with you 100%. We need all those numbers and we need them all in front of us. And they should be because they're not new. They didn't come up yesterday. So I would say that for all departments, whether it's ambulance, fire, everything, I think that needs to be in the computer. We do have Kyle that is paid to do that. So if that could be something coordinated between the board and Kyle, put the whole presentation together, now there's not voted on tonight because we need it. But I'm saying for everything in the future, you should have all the numbers in front of you before the meeting. And now that we're paying someone, we have a union and all these great things, that you should have that. And the numbers are not that, it sounds like a lot of numbers, they're not that many. Once they're in front of you, they are when we're talking and you can't see it. But please, I would ask the board, pursue a full presentation of the numbers. Not for what you're voting on tonight, but for the new ambulance, for the second driver paid, for everything for the future. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to say?
Yes, please. As the liaison for the ambulance corps, I appreciate everything that they do. And what I think was not, personally for me, as a 3rd ambulance, was not a great idea for me in May, became a whole different subject once we knew that new ambulance was not going to be here for nearly a year. So I think it's imperative. I agree with what we've talked about, how will the third when it becomes the third ambulance, if we vote on it, it becomes the third ambulance, how's that going to go? I'm not sure. But for money that we're getting from insurance, if we can make this happen, I think we can't go without a second ambulance right now. Even with the fact that we have to store it outside, it doesn't fit. It's something that we can have for a second ambulance right now. Thank you.
I think we should get it. Can we do somewhere we vote and pass it, but as soon as we get the new ambulance, we have to sell it? I mean, because if it is a diesel engine, I mean, they do hold their value pretty well. Maybe, I mean, I don't know about ambulances per se, but...
When this used ambulance is done giving us service, it will go to auction for probably next to nothing. This will be its last home. So there won't be another ambulance corps that's going to buy something with 120,000, 150,000 miles on it. That's okay. That I believe to be absolutely true. This will be its last visit as an ambulance.
How many miles does an ambulance put on a year?
It depends. I mean, if you had 385, that's 88, and it caught on fire with our...
Yeah, but how long do we have it?
How long? Since 2009.
If I may, there's agencies that have had the same essential ambulance and have just simply replaced the parts over the course of 25, 30 years. Not something that we can really do at the size.
So, yeah, but
that, when we talk about auction for nothing, I've seen far worse go to auctions for far more.
I would disagree with that.
And I would just say the type of miles that our ambulance, we're a hill everywhere. I'm surprised we don't go through transmissions, because I worked down at the Bear Mountain, bought parts for Bear Mountain Garage for years, and blow through transmissions and all kinds of parts, because you got heavy machines that are going up big hills and going down big hills, and there go your brakes. So it's hard to, you don't need a whole ton of miles.
And the next question to Mr. Flynn, what he was saying, to get with, who would we get with to put all this together?
Kyle and Jeff. But Kyle...
And, like, that's where it's confusing. As somebody being new.
Jeff can answer any question pretty much any time. He knows it all. But Kyle is being paid to be at the ambulance to do administrative work. So it's easy for him to put it together and email it to you.
As a paid person that he is, in my eyes, I mean, this has been the couple times since the ambulance has been talked about, and I've never seen this guy.
Okay, so if I may, he has a second job, or a third job. He has 3 jobs. Like most of us in EMS have 2 or 3 jobs working in EMS because they just don't pay him. And as far as putting the ambulances outside, everybody should know, most towns and villages can't afford to build an ambulance corps, a new building. It's just crazy what you have to pay and build one.
Answering your question,
He's not a part of the...
you were asking about, what do we do with that third ambulance? Timeline. The new ambulance might be here in May. Let's hope there's not another mudslide or another issue with the company, because now it's 2 years from now. Remember, we're getting a used ambulance now. So we'll only have 2 ambulances, if we get it, for a year. Hopefully, the ambulance we have now running is still running after a year. So that one may go. And the new ambulance and the part-time one that we get now will be the only 2 ambulances we have. That's something that you can deal with in a year when we actually know that other ambulance is coming, because at this point it's not. It was supposed to be here this month. Not a month from now, not 2, a year. Best we could do, a year. And that's if there are no more problems, no more issues with stuff coming from another country, whatever.
Now, you're saying the email that I got from that company said that they were going to do, if I remember right, it said the aluminum body in January, and then they're going to send that for assembly in February. So, being very optimistic, I know, it might be February that we would get it.
I apologize, because I was told at our May meeting about a year. So it's going to be March-ish, but I was told about a year.
Okay, no, it's definitely not a year. But anyway, town board, would anybody like to make a motion of some sort?
That was a good discussion. I'll make the motion.
I will second.
What motion? What is the motion?
Motion to buy the 2014 ambulance with 60,000 miles on it for $49,000. Is that correct?
That is correct.
It is.
Second the motion.
You got a second over here, roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Aye.
Councilmember Laney. Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Supervisor Lindsay.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's nothing else on the agenda for the ambulance corps. If you'd like to sneak out, you most certainly can.
That was a good job.
Okay, I have, town board, I have a request. This is a strange one, and my name is Alex Cardona. I am currently completing licensing process for a group family daycare program in Highland Falls through the New York State Office of Children and Family Services. As part of emergency preparedness requirements, I am seeking an emergency relocation site that could temporarily accommodate children and staff in the event of an emergency evacuation from the daycare location. I wanted to ask if your facility would be willing to be listed as a potential emergency relocation site for a temporary shelter during emergencies if ever needed. This would only be used in emergency situations, and all children would remain supervised by daycare staff at all times. Thank you for your time and consideration.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Do I have a second?
Second, but little discussion. This is for here?
Yeah.
For this to be that site?
Yeah.
Sole here, because they just walked out. The ambulance corps could be an auxiliary place, but this is for town hall.
Yeah.
Okay. With air conditioning, electricity, but no standby generator. Just want to make that clear. Okay.
Okay. So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Kelly, would you notify this lady that we approved them? And I'd like to know if there's anything else that they would expect us to have for them, like hot cocoa for the kids or stuff like that. Anyway. I have a letter from DOT telling us that it's time to renew our temporary license to use the state's property, and it's revocable in 30 days' notice, but we've had it for about 20 years now, I think, or what have you. This is for the two wells, the property that the two wells up by the Eagle Valley Cemetery. So she wanted me to sign up on this, so I'll ask for a motion. You know what it's about, right?
One motion and second discussion, or just discuss it?
Well, just quickly discussing it, this property is in front of the Eagle Valley Cemetery. Back when Inge Acquaintance was supervisor, she decided that she got a grant to drill some wells up there. So they drilled two of them that were she drilled 4 wells, and that was going to maybe give water to the town of Highlands. Well, as it turned out, 2 of the wells were too close to the highway, too close to the cemetery, so the Department of Health wouldn't approve them. So we got the property, we're not doing anything with it, we just have a permit that the permit says that we won't let anybody else use it for anything else. So I'll just ask the board for permission to sign this permit request.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
And discussion?
But that's to continue with are we insuring these wells, or?
Yes,
Okay.
our normal insurance, which costs us very little, right?
Yeah, there are additional.
Yeah.
They're there, they're never gonna be used as a water source, we know that. So if you feel this is a prudent course of action, I already made this the second, and I'm prepared to vote.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Best Friends Animal Society grant. I don't know what we're going to do with this. This is a grant for $3,000. You gonna talk to us about it, Kathy?
It's a grant for $3,500
35. Okay.
for veterinary care, food, cleaning supplies for the pound. We have to do quarterly reports. They want to have just little blogs and pictures of any dogs that I come in. They also want to help with finding me partners to get these dogs out of the pound quicker, because I've been having them down there for months. Judge Holland has agreed to help me with pictures. I mean, it's $3,500 more than I have in my budget now.
Okay, now, with all the things that this grant calls for, which I'm sure you've read it over, and there's a lot that's got to be done. As far as I'm concerned, $3,500 is not a lot for what they want you to do.
They just want receipts, and I haven't had any dogs now for a couple weeks.
They want monthly reports, they want quarterly reports, they want us to advertise on social media on their behalf.
I didn't see monthly reports. It says quarterly.
I think it's in there also, monthly.
It's registered or will become registered. The Alliance website, submit monthly data reporting to SPEA.
Yes, into their, right.
Right, that's monthly.
And that's for adoptable dogs.
So if there's somebody besides Kelly, or somebody who's gonna do these reports, that's great. If it's gonna go to Kelly, her plate is already beyond full for all this stuff. And I did read where you're required to do certain social media posts on their behalf, on our Town of Highlands Facebook page, so that's all part of it.
Okay.
So long as that can be covered by somebody other than Kelly, however the rest of the board feels, if you feel it's worth the $3,500, I'll support it.
To somebody, I mean, this could, is that...
This would all fall on you, Kathy. If we pass this, it'll all fall on you, everything.
That's all right.
Okay.
And if you don't keep up with it, do the reports and what have you, you'll lose the grant or whatever.
Okay. I don't have a problem. I'll do it.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion for me to sign this agreement?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, thank you. I have a notice from the center at Highland Falls that they appointed Christine Manning as our Town of Highlands Services for Older Adults Coordinator. And she'll begin in the 1st of August. This is not something we need to vote on or anything, it's just telling us that this is what the center has done. Do you know this, Mr.?
Yeah, so they told me about it, so the reason I didn't emphasize more than what I already talked about is the fact that they still remain the center, our contractor. And so they just internally appointed someone as a point of contact.
That's why I say we, okay. So that's just for the information of the board. Bull Hill Tower. Unlike the esteemed Mr. Sullivan, I wrote them a letter which, it's a little bit up here. It's not all this down here.
Are you still on public comment?
No, but there'll be public comment at the end of the meeting.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
this is Donna Douglas, she's a civilian, she's with the U.S. Army ID training, or whatever it is. Donna, as I explained to you on the phone, the town will not be able to comply with the contract terms to clear the property. The town board discussed the terms, and we will accept any reasonable cost from West Point to remove the equipment. I hope you, West Point, understand that we do not have the equipment, manpower, or expertise to do the job. That's my three-line answer to her. I have not heard back from her. Justin, does that sound all right to you? Yeah, okay. In the contract, it says that if we don't do it, they will at a cost to us, and they'll assume ownership of all the properties. So that's just information. We don't have to vote on it.
My long-winded report on it, which I think I shared with everybody. I went up there with Greg. It's about a 200-foot elevation gain, over 500 feet, over very rough terrain. If the equipment were on the ground, we figured a crew of 4 guys, all of whom have to be fit, would take a full calendar week in order to get that stuff out of there, and that's not getting it off the tower. I think everybody was sent that, so, yeah, it's in a tough spot.
Yeah. Okay, the local Knights of Columbus organization is going to purchase and donate a new AED machine for the Little League field. That'll be kept at the field under lock and key in the snack bar.
Excellent.
That's nice. That's very nice.
Excellent.
Ask Kelly, ask Aaron tomorrow to put together one of his nice letters of thank you to the Knights of Columbus. Okay, I got a notice from the Orange County IDA. We publish this on Facebook, on our webpage, whatever else. They are having a meeting concerning, what do they call it? The Southgate project, is that what it's called?
Southgate Flats.
Southgate Flats, right? The project cost is approximately $63 million. They will have a public hearing on June the 15th at 4 p.m. at the Senior Center, 15 Drew Avenue, Highland Falls. So if anyone would like to know what the IDA is and what they do for taxes and tax exempts and tax breaks and pilot programs, please go to this meeting. We were required to, by our insurance company, was it Kelly? Yes. To come up with a abuse prevention policy for the town of Highlands Recreation Department. I think everyone has gotten it on board. It's about 15 pages. I won't bother reading it. But anyway, I'll ask for a motion to adopt the abuse prevention policy for the town of Highlands Recreation Department.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Laney?
Aye.
Councilmember Corbett?
Aye.
Supervisor Lewis?
Aye. Kelly, the dial-a-bus agreement, that's what you've been working on?
Yes.
Yes. And I have a resolution for the town of Highlands to authorize execution of the amendment to the agreement between the town of Highlands and the Orange County for the dial-a-bus. The amendment, Justin?
Just one change, we adopted a 5-year agreement last year. This changes the not to exceed cost for the state refunding how much you can spend has been increased. So it's to your benefit that potentially you will get additional funding from the New York State.
Okay. So I'll ask for a motion to move the resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment of the agreement between the town and Orange County.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Laney? Councilmember Scorbitt?
Aye.
Supervisor Leach?
Aye. Town board, do you have anything else?
It was a good meeting.
Huh?
It was a good meeting.
Public comment? Yes, sir. Please stand in the microphone, tell everybody who you are and all what we know, but...
Good evening. My name's Timothy Donnery. I just have one little comment. Over the past few years, I'm up to 5 tires and 2 rims because of road conditions in the area. And the latest one was yesterday. Mr. Bosch is fixing my car now. But I do know the project in Rockland County, most of it's being paid by Orange and Rockland to repave their roads because of the electric lines.
Yeah.
And that goes from Congress up to Park Road. And then the governor, she donated some money to go from Park Road up to the Bear Mountain Circle. So I was hoping that you, in your years of service around, maybe we can whisper in a few people's ears and get, from the Bear Mountain Circle up to the bottom of the mountain, which is only another, 5-10 miles of resurfacing done.
It sounds like a great idea, yes, sir. Yes.
Now's the time. We're going to start that project the minute the schools stop. Because they don't want to interrupt anything with the schools, but that's where they're going to start down there. But, if we can get our friends at West Point and everybody to whisper in a few people's ears, maybe you can pull this off. I know you've done a lot of things over the years, Bob. You can do it.
We'll try.
Next time he has lunch with the governor.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Timmy,
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Road Lindsay Jr., actually, I'm glad Jeff walked back inside. I was at home watching the meeting. There's a couple things that weren't brought up. Now, you can't go back on your motion, that's for sure. You already made your motion and everything else. But to myself, one very important factor which was not mentioned at all, and that is the fact that it was said the second ambulance will be left outside. Then the weather factor, okay, so everything would be taken out of the ambulance. Meds would be taken out of the ambulance, okay? So, for me, I've been in the ambulance corps. I just became a lifer. Actually, there was 45 members when I first joined. Correct me if I'm wrong, Steve. There was only one paid EMT, and I'm thinking, Redman, was that it? With the red pickup truck? What was his name? There was only one, and he was actually paid part-time, I believe. That's what it was. And so times have changed drastically to right now, where volunteerism is getting tough. So with that said, I'm speaking as a taxpayer also. So now with the ambulance, back to the ambulance with the weather factor and meds being taken out, you have a call, that ambulance out on the call, okay? Boom, you got another second call. How are you going to use that second ambulance when the meds are taken out of it? How are you going to use that second ambulance, weather factor, okay? You're going to have that ambulance for a while now. These ambulances have to be plugged in. Okay? soon as we bring them back to the bay, they're plugged in. Start it up, pops it out. It's to charge up, keep the ambulance all charged and everything else. Again, when the ambulance is outside, how are you going to plug it in? Are you going to run an extension cord now from outside? You can't have a kind of switch like that. It's got to be a certain kind of switch. Now, if we're going in towards the winter months, the ambulance is outside. Back to meds, plus some other things that are on there. I'm a driver, hands-on. I know the meds that are on there. I'm a hands-on driver. So now you have more things taken out of the ambulance because it's outside, temperatures below freezing. You got a second call. How are you going to do this? I just don't understand, and this has always been on my mind, how are you going to do this? To keep it outside, it's freezing out. It's not plugged in, it's not keeping warm, it's a diesel. You know diesels, Mike. It's a diesel. Richie, you know diesels. Plug them in. Jeff knows diesels too. Plug them in. Okay, it's the way it's got to be. So that's 2 plugs now in the diesel. I just think there's a lot of homework still to do on this with this second ambulance. It's got to be decaled. Town of Highlands, that's all got to be done. There's a whole lot of homework. So when this ambulance comes in, there's a lot of things that have to be still discussed on the second call. Because again, I don't understand, I wish I was here, how this is going to be able to say, okay, we got a second call. There's not 10, 15 minutes waiting for that second call. There's not 10, 15 minutes saying, hey, listen, we got this, wait a second, call 911, tell them to send Cornwall. We're not going to be ready for this. You just, when the call comes in, you call 911, tell them en route. You want to have this under 5 minutes, 3 if possible. And if there's staff at the ambulance corps, it's immediately. Again, that's second call. But I'm just saying this to the board because there's a lot of questions to ask. I don't say this in at all any kind of disrespect at all. Jeff is #1 down there. He's great. But as you said, Mike, and I heard you during the meeting, a lot of this is Kyle. A lot of this is Kyle, and these kind of questions that I'm saying to you right now should have been said and they should have been answered. So now you're going to get your ambulance, but for you, the board now, what are you going to do with it? Thank you.
Anybody else? Public comment? Anybody else?
So if I may, and I appreciate what you're saying. First and foremost, there's a shoreline. It'll be plugged up. The meds that you're referring to are the ones that have to be kept at a certain temperature. I'll state it again. Almost every single ambulance corps in Orange County has a spare ambulance sitting outside. If not 1, then 2. With regards to the decal and everything, the insurance company's paying for that. They're going to pay for the power lift. Basically, $49,000 is coming out of that, plus 16, and she's paying for the design. So all of that, when it gets here, will be done.
As I will say,
That's all.
this is my captain right here, and I will say, Captain Gathers, I can understand, and I'm not even understand, I don't have to understand this. You are correct. Ambulance do stay outside. However, it's not their second responder right away ambulance. It's an ambulance that's outside as a second vehicle. That's what they're for.
It is a second vehicle.
Not immediate response vehicle.
They all are, because they're all doing, they're not doing as many calls as we are, but they're doing 4 Warwick, Wallkill, it's like 6,000 calls. Montgomery is 4,000 to 5,000 calls. New Windsor is the same, and they all go out,
I'm
so.
just saying with the meds that are not in there, then you have to gather, you have to...
No, you put them aside with the keys on them, and I don't want to sound repetitive.
Okay,
and keep the meeting going, but the fact of the matter is, they put it with the jump bag where the meds are inside the core. You can't move that ambulance without the jump bag, or as we call it, the first-in bag, with the keys, and you go out and you respond.
Okay, we can't have this cross-talking like this. Anybody else?
I got one last thing, not about the ambulance corps, good job, great discussion. But I forgot that on June 19th, which is a Friday, June 19th, at the American Legion, O'Connor Doyle American Legion Post 633, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., there'll be a wellness workshop intended for veterans and first responders, which include law enforcement officers, those who need to reduce their stress and their anxiety. You can come there and we'll have a practitioner that is going to deliver both Western and Chinese practices on how to reduce your stress and your anxiety. Could be stuff like mindfulness, acupuncture, meditation, and other things. So I just want to get that out there because the chief is here. He can help spread the word. Mary Jane is still here. And some of y'all look stressed out, so you should be there on Friday.
The whole ambulance corps is stressed out tonight.
And the food that will be served is...
Well, now you put me on the spot, I'm gonna get some turkey sandwiches, something low sodium, so you can all be healthy.
I don't know everybody's stressed.
I have a motion?
My final plea is everybody knows I live near the Patriot Garden. Doris Lent has been leading that charge for 25 years now, and people aren't showing up to weed it. So the Star and all that, Beth and myself, we took care of it. There's no well over there. I'm supplying water from my house as I did last year. There's a well 400 feet down. It puts out a gallon a minute, and it's $5,000 to replace it. So it's only a temporary measure. We're not too far from the islands leading into it, having to be dug out and have grass seed put in place because the town guys don't weed, they don't plant flowers and whatnot. So I'm putting out a plea to people to please volunteer with Vision, Beautification, the Garden Club, all those organizations. Doris is surely trying, and I feel I owe it to her to try and get her some help.
Okay, now I'm going to top that story. We're topping now. The other day, my son and I were sitting out in front of my house, and here comes the mama duck and papa duck with 3 little ducklings in the middle, one straight line walking down the road. He says, I feel bad if I saw those ducks squashed on the road or something like that. So he went running down the road. He walked those ducks all the way down to Garrison, stopped traffic, and got them across the road and into Garrison.
Very good.
You made me go smart.
Good job, bro. Motion to adjourn.
I make the motion.
All in favor? Aye.